Shouldn't she? Wouldn't he? Aren't they? Do she? Didn't they? Shall we? Mustn't he? Mightn't we? Needn't you? Could I? Should he? Isn't it? Are they? Doesn't it? Couldn't I? Would you? Is it? I think today's topic of discussion would be yes. Correct guess, it is tag questions. So how can we make them? How do we use them? And blah blah blah. Today we'll know each and everything about tag questions. So let us begin. Tag questions are usually added for reassurance, seeking confirmation. So whenever you seek confirmation, you use tag questions for it. For an example, he plays well. So you add the tag question here is, doesn't he? He plays well, doesn't he? So to seek confirmation, we use tag questions. This is the very first basic meaning why we use tag questions. Okay? Let us look at a few examples how tag questions are used in day-to-day life. They do not live here, do they? Jim ate cookies, didn't he? Maria cooks delicious food, doesn't she? He will come with us, won't he? It is not well presented, is it? Now, if you notice the sense of forming tag questions here is, we have used the basic modal auxiliaries and along with it we have used the pronoun, or you can say the subject. So it is basically verb plus subject plus question mark. So this is the format of making a question tag or tag questions. Okay, usually the tags are added at the end of the sentence and not at the beginning of the sentence. So here how you have to write the answer. If the question here is, they do not live here, the answer would be, they do not live here. You have to write the sentence again, comma, then you have to add the verb. You write the verb, that is the basic modal auxiliary verb, and then you write the subject. The verb can be positive or negative depending upon the statement. Then comes your subject, and the last thing is question mark. So this is how tag questions are formed. Okay? So we'll know the format of question tags. Like these are the verbs. So these are the basic modal auxiliaries. And here I have used the common action verb, that is play. So we'll add play to all these basic modal auxiliaries, and the final output which we'll get is not plays, played, and the question mark. No, here you have to use the basic modal auxiliary as the answer. So the format here goes with modal auxiliaries or mood verbs plus basic action verb will give you the tag questions. Okay, so the question tag formed here is do pronoun, whatever the pronoun used in the statement or whatever the subject is. Play is not used in the tag questions. Okay, instead the basic modal auxiliary is used to form the tag question. Same goes with does, did, have, has or had, will, is, am or are. Okay, now the difference here between the verbs do, does, did and is, will, am, are or was is, here the cases we usually use the word like he plays well. Okay, does play, instead of it we have used plays well. So here you can guess the verb is in present tense. Play denotes present tense, play or plays. But if I say he played well, it denotes past tense. So here you have to guess the tense by you have to guess the tense using the action verb. But whenever you use is, am, or are, there are chances that there is an adjective after the verb, like it is hot, it is cold, or it was cold, or I'm good. So you do not have to look after the action verb, but you have to use the basic modal auxiliary, that is, am, are, and you have to frame the tag questions. So this is the basic difference. You have to just focus on basic auxiliaries. So if the statement is positive, you have to use the negative question tags. This is the rule, okay? It is tasty, isn't it? And the opposite form here is, if the statement is negative, you have to use the positive question tag. That is, it is not tasty, is it? So the tag questions are usually formed on this rule. If the statement is positive, you have to make the negative of it, and if it is negative, you have to make the positive out of it. Now first we'll look at the negative question tags. So in such tag questions, what happens is you use verb plus not plus subject then plus the question tag or question mark usually. But if the statement is positive, how will you use? So here the verb be uses, if the statement contains a form of be, then you have to use the same verb, like is, am, are. If the be form of verbs are given, you have to use as it is, like it is cold, isn't it? But if there is any other auxiliary verb, you have to use the same verb, like do, does, did, will, shall, would, may, might, can, could, ought, must. Such verbs are there, then you have to use do, does, did as it is. Like he plays well, then your does play is hidden. Okay, so you have to guess the tense, and then you have to use that particular auxiliary verb. If there is vowel word, and if it is in present tense, like do, does, did, and if it is in the singular number, it is does. If it is plural, it is do. Or if it is in past tense, then it is, the verb used is did. Then again, you have to use these verbs as it is. But if there is a supporting verb, then you have to use that particular supporting verb, like have, has, or had. I had my coffee, hadn't I? Okay, so in the case of positive question tags, or you can say positive statements, negative questions, negative tag questions are from, but in the case of negative, positive are from. So affirmative sentences having negative question tags. They live here, don't they? So the format here is live. They do live here. So do is the verb which we have converted into negative, because positive statements have negative tag questions. So don't, and the again subject here is they. So we have used they, do plus not plus they plus question mark. Same applies for the next statement. Jim ate cookies, didn't he? Did plus not plus subject plus question mark. Maria cooks delicious food, doesn't she? He will come with us, won't he? It is well presented. Is plus not plus subject plus question tag. So this is how negative tag questions are formed for positive or affirmative sentences. In the second part, where the sentences are negative but the tag questions are positive or affirmative. So the format here is verb plus subject plus question tag or question mark. As the sentence is already negative, you do not have to add not and the tag. So in the question tag, the tag will be positive. You will skip not here. So let us look at the examples. They do not live here. So here the statement is negative and the tag questions formed here are positive. Not is already given, so we'll not use it. So here the format is verb plus subject plus question mark. Do, they, and question mark. For the second statement, Jim did not eat cookies. Verb plus subject plus question mark. Did, he, and question mark. Maria does not cook delicious food. Instead of cooks, it would be cook here. Sorry for the typing error. Maria does not cook delicious food. Does she? He will not come with us. Will he? It is not well presented. Is it? As not is already given, no, not, never. It can be negative in any sense. Any word can be used to make the sentence negative. Not necessarily not is used. The sentence can have the words like never or neither or nor. So you have to use your brain and you have to frame the sentences, the question tags. So it is not well presented. Is plus subject plus question mark. So this is how negative statements have positive tag questions. Now let us look at the notes. The very first important note here is in the sentence he plays well, and the question tag which we have formed is doesn't he. The very first note is question tags always begin with a small letter. So D here is small. It is not capitalized. He plays well, doesn't he? Second point here is there is a comma after the statement. I've already told us in the beginning of the video. He plays well, doesn't he? So you have to rewrite the sentence again and then you put comma. So the question given here was he plays well, and the answer we have rewritten here is he plays well. The whole sentence is rewritten, then comma is added, and then the tag, doesn't he. Okay. Next note is the subject of question tag is always a pronoun. If the statement has the subject, a noun, then you have to make it a pronoun. He plays well, doesn't he? So in the early sentences, we had Maria cooks delicious food. So doesn't she? Instead of Maria or Jimmy, we have used the pronoun and not the noun. Next is question mark is used at the end. If you do not use the question mark at the end, it is not a tag question. So question mark is important. And the last note here is the shortest form possible is used. That means instead of writing does not he, we say or we write doesn't he. So NT, okay, N apostrophe T. So let's revise the important notes. He plays well is the sentence, and the answer is he plays well, comma, with the small d we write doesn't he. So the negative form of the verb does is used, and the shortest possible form of not, N apostrophe T, is used. At the end we have used the question mark. So question tags always begin with a small letter. There is a comma after the statement. The subject of question tag is always a pronoun. If it is a noun, you have to make it a pronoun. Question mark is used at the end. And the shortest form possible, that is N apostrophe T, is used for not. Now for the word am, the question tag used here is aren't. I am beautiful, aren't I? I am the best, aren't I? I'm proud of you. Do you know instead of aren't, what other form of verb can be used as question tag? If you know, then do write us in the comment section. Here are the few examples which will help you to make question tags. If the statements are positive, then you have to use this basic auxiliary verbs, and then you have to add not, and you'll get the output as count, want, and everything. So here is the list. But if the statement is negative, then you have to subtract, or you have to minus not, and you have to make the positive form of it. Like if you can see the 22nd number, don't, we have subtracted not from it, and the resultant output is do. Same goes with isn't, we have removed not, and then the verb used is, haven't, minus not, and the verb is have. So this is the format which will help you to make question tags depending upon the statements, whether it is positive or negative. Thank you. Keep learning, keep growing. Do like, share and subscribe the video, and write the answers in the comment section.